It was a beautiful story, and she was the child from hell. You love a black hockey romance. This is it. Okay. It was just so good to me. Honey, the girl could write herself a contemporary romance. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video. We are going to be doing an October reading recap, and your girl, she had a very trying month. Okay, it was a super busy weekend. I was heavy with church stuff for the weekends, and so I didn't read for like 5 days out of the month, which is very unusual for me. Like, I would pick it up for 3 seconds, I read a page, and I just completely fell asleep. So I only read 26 days out of 31 days in the month of October, and we read 8 books, which one I can't really count because I finished it in the I finished more in September than I did in October, but I finished in October, so we're gonna count it. 8 books. We read 2,205 pages. So if you're new here, I read over 3,000 pages a month. So this is very low. And I don't want to make it seem like it's about numbers and stuff like that, because if you just read 1 book a month, you're doing well. But I'm just saying, for me, it was a very slow month. I usually am in the double digits, somewhere 10 and above. And so yeah, I just, wanted to throw that out there. We did read 1 historical fiction. We read 1, 2, 3 suspenses, and then the rest were romances. So I think 5 romances. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 romances, 3 suspenses, and 1 historical fiction, which was a pretty good month, because like I said previously, I have been knee deep in romances, and so I'm trying to set goals that shift from that. My goals for September were to read 2 historical fictions, 2 suspenses, 2 romances, get my subscriber count up. The only thing that I didn't do out of the 5 to 7 goals that I had, I didn't read 2 male authors. I only read 1, and I didn't read 2 historical fictions. I only read 1. So we still had a pretty good month. So let's get into the recap after I just blabbered about nothing. Yeah, so the first book that I finished, this is the one that I was telling you guys about, House of Eve by Sadiqa Johnson. And when I tell y'all, 5-star read. The 2 female main characters, so it's told dual point of view in the same, I think it's the same time period, but dual point of view, and it follows Ruby, and I forget the other girl's name, and one of them is struggling with they're both struggling with social things that was happening back then, like racism, colorism in the black community, and just life in general in that time and in that era. And so what you see is 2 strong black women whose stories intertwine with one another. And when I tell y'all, the ending of the book and how things came together for these 2 women were just, it was a beautiful story. And it was so beautiful to the point where, this is a new author to me, to the point where I'm like, I need the girl's catalog right now. So I had went and purchased Yellow Wife, because I want to read her books. That was so beautifully written. The way, like I said, the way the characters came together in the end, instant 5-star. Like, I absolutely, oh my gosh, 100% loved it. I don't want to tell too much, because I feel like it would give some of the plot away a little bit, and just, it was too, the details are kind of too intricate, and I don't want to step on nobody's toes. Okay, so that was the first book that I finished in October. The second book that I finished was A Welcome Reunion by Lucinda Berry. So if you read The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry, it follows a couple who works in a hospital, and this young girl comes in who looks like a toddler, but she's kind of not, she's still a child, but she's not a toddler. And she takes to the doctor, the male main character. So when they adopt her, take her home, and she is the child from hell. I said in a previous vlog, when I read this book, I think I read this book last year or maybe earlier this year, I said the girl was so terrible to the point where she made me just be totally against adoption, like in general, like, because she was the child from hell. And so whatever happens in that book happens. They go through whatever they go through. It's just like a web of just ugh. But this book, A Welcome Reunion, picks up, I want to say 10 years later, where the girl is an adult now, and the girl is still up to her old ways. And I rated it 2 stars because it just didn't resonate with me. I didn't see a need for it. I would have just been fine with them leaving it as it is in The Perfect Child. I just didn't see a need for it, so I did rate it 2 stars. It wasn't something that kind of was closure for me. It kind of left you on a cliffhanger almost, honestly. If you've read A Welcome Reunion, let me know your thoughts on it. I'm curious to talk to somebody who has read it. That's one of those books where you go on Goodreads reviews and see if you're the cuckoo one, if something is wrong with you. And yeah. The third book that I read was Hear My Heart by Tay Monet. This follows a deaf girl who is in a relationship with somebody who is just terrible. He's terrible. He's awful to her. He treats her poorly. He doesn't respect her deafness. He doesn't try with her. And so a tragedy ends up happening, and his brother enters the picture. He's like the black sheep of the family, comes back in the family's life. And when I tell you he's a black sheep, like he's a for real black sheep, like he don't mess with him at all. And so he ends up staying at the house, and then obviously it's a romance book, so you can take it from there. This book gave me all the feels. If you love 1201 by Bella J, you will definitely love this one in more ways than one. It was a story of forced proximity. It was a story of healing and understanding that there's a person out there for you that will respect your boundaries, that will respect your differences. I feel like most of us, majority of us we have somebody that is meant for us. And this story reminded me of that. Like there's somebody out there that's going to go above and beyond for you and just nurture all of your just nurture you, just take care of you and embrace you. So yeah, that was a really, really good story. I do recommend you reading that. Like I said, if you love 1201 by Bella J, similar vibes with the spiciness, the BDSM, the brother's fiance or girl, whatever, like you'll love all the vibes. So the next book I read was Gold by Alexandria House. I did read an Alexandria House book before. Absolutely love her. This book follows Malik, and I think her name was Nuri. And Nuri is faced with a tragedy and ends up quitting her job. It's a tragedy that is very high in America today, and so it's a real life situation, a real life story where I would love to talk to somebody in that profession and see if they've ever had those feelings of, wanting to quit or whatever. But anyway, she ends up quitting her job, and she is hired to be a nanny at Malik's house. So if you love a black hockey romance, this is it, okay? This is it. The only thing is, Malik and Nuri have this a little bit of attraction towards one another, but his fiance is very pretentious. She is very kind of aggressive. She's just she's terrible. And something falls in Malik's lap to where he has now this great responsibility. Like he has to take care of this, because he just does not want to just put this off on somebody else or something else. Like he wants to take care of what he has to take care of, and the fiance is not feeling it. Like she is just over it. So that's why they end up hiring Nuri for help and stuff like that. And it got so bad to the point where the fiance, I think her name was Natalie or something like that, I don't even know, but she was annoying. So obviously it's a romance, it's a forced proximity nanny trope, it's a hockey romance, all those tropes mixed into one, and it made for a really, really good love story. I wanted to see what I wrote on my Goodreads. How the characters, they both had complicated pasts. Nuri's story really caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting something so in-depth like that. I thought it was just going to be something like cute and fluffy, and it got a little deep in and I think about the black family and everything like that, and how there's so many secrets, and how kids in the family are treated a certain way over something that they didn't have nothing to do with back in those times. And so yeah, it got a little deeper for me, because I know that's a thing, like stuff like that really actually does happen. I also wrote Malik's ex was a psycho, but I'm so happy he put her in her place. Yeah, the story moved fast and was super duper cute. I do recommend it. I think I rated it 4 stars. Yep, so there's that. The next book that I read was The Only Shot by Sin. I'm sorry, it's called The Only Shot That Mattered by Sin. It is it was an amazing story with a deep theme to it about why we face traumas in life. I said the author did a wonderful job of sending a powerful message on a sensitive topic. Also, along with the lesson and reminder, I love Damien and Kenna together. So Kenna faced the same thing that the Nuri faced in the other book, where there was a tragedy that happened and she was a child at the time that this tragedy happened. So she became like a hermit. She became somebody who didn't just, she didn't go out a lot. And so her best friend, who is a male, he was a gay male actually, and so there was nothing like there, any no love interest there, like he was literally her best friend. So he decides to take her out to a game where she meets, I think the male main character's name is Damien. I just said it and just forgot it that quick. Okay, so Damien and Damien is an NBA star, so they actually meet because he goes around the stadium and picks out a fan to do X, Y, and Z with or whatever. So he comes across Kenna and he's like super duper, likes her, and just they kind of fall into it. What this book brought about to me was found family. The first few chapters, you will see a found family created. You will see how they're nurtured through the book. Like, it was amazing. And these people met at a basketball game. These people literally met at a basketball game and just created this family, created this vibe, and it was just so good to me. One of the other things that I loved about this is Damien had, and this is not spoiling anything, but him and his baby mama got along together. And I said in a blog when I did this how I come from a mixed family. I come from a blended family. And so I didn't grow up seeing strife amongst the adults. Like, all of the adults in my life got along great. Now, whatever beef they had behind closed doors, I never saw it. And I still ain't heard about it today as an adult. And so I just love to see that happening in a book because I know it's real. I know it can happen. That's not fake. That's not fiction. So I love that. It has some really good themes to it. I enjoyed it. And I also love the epilogue at the end where we got like an extended look into somebody's life, like over a large time period. So I love that as well. Just absolutely ate it up. Then I was in dire need of a Rebecca Yarros book. I know people know her for fantasy, like Onyx Storm and the Four Winds or Wings or whatever it's called, fantasy. I don't do fantasy, so I don't know nothing about her in that realm. But honey, the girl could write herself a contemporary romance. And Great and Precious Things is one of those books that kind of remind me of Virgin River. I could see it as a Netflix series or like a Netflix movie or something like that. It's a military romance. It follows Camden, and I think it was dual point of view, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. Camden and Willow. And Camden is a vet who comes home because his father needs him. Like, his father knows that he's the only one that can get this particular thing done. The father is sick. He is he's sick. I'll just say that. And he calls Cam to come back home and help him get this particular thing done. Like, help him, tell his other brother about the needs. Only when he comes back home, Willow, his childhood best friend, is there, and the only thing is Willow is off limits. And in the book it says not only is she off limits, but she's unthinkable because Willow was in a relationship with his younger brother. But come to find out, Willow and Camden have this very, very complicated past. Camden is a very complicated character, seems very aggressive and very abrasive, but he's really just like a big huge teddy bear with tattoos all over his body. Like, he's one of those characters that, how we say you shouldn't judge on the outside, like how God judges on the inside. Like, he's like that. And I love the transformation of seeing him as that big tough guy in the beginning to that lovable character in the end. Because at first they had me convinced that something was wrong with him. Like, he's off the chain, like, I was not feeling him at first, to an extent. But yeah, so it's a little bit of, it's a small town romance, but it's one of those stories that Rebecca Yarros, her contemporary romances, kind of pull at the heartstrings. It's a military romance, so obviously there is death in here, there is hurt in here, there's forgiveness, there's healing, there is trauma in here on all the characters, and I could totally see this as a like I said, a TV show or some type of movie on Netflix. So if you're out there, you want to make Great and Precious Things by Rebecca Yarros, a little Netflix movie, your girl will watch it. And I'll probably, knowing me, I'll probably watch it about 10 times. So then we read next The Coworker by Frida McFadden. This, so my family has a book club. We're called The Reading Relatives. We read The Coworker by Frida McFadden. We wanted a suspense, and then we have a lot of new readers in the group, so we wanted something like fast-paced. And anybody knows, whatever your beef is with Frida, her books move very fast-paced, and they're very, most of them are entertaining. Like some of my books from her have been Never Lie, The Boyfriend, The Inmates, The Teacher, even though that was kind of crazy and uncomfortable, but those are like my top 4 favorite books from her. The Coworker was just okay. It follows Natalie, so this is who Natalie character is. Natalie is working in this office, and she gets a phone call from a coworker named Dawn asking for help. And so it ends up being this cat and mouse thing, and obviously, you know, with a Frida turn, there's more to the story, so I'll just leave it at that. The book was simply okay. I did rate it 3 stars. I forgot to tell y'all, I rated Great and Precious Things 4 stars. So sorry about that. And The Only Shot 4 stars. I don't know if I told y'all that. But anyway, I rated The Coworker 3 stars. It was just simply okay for me. It wasn't something that I would recommend. It wasn't something that, now I will say, it did keep the page turning. I was definitely invested in the story. But as far as a twist, it didn't give... Ooh, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't give that. It just was what it was. So yeah. Then we finished up King of Ashes. This by far was superb. 5 stars. Definitely held your attention from start to finish, even though the book is only 333 pages, and normally I wouldn't recommend a book like this to a new reader with so many pages. I would hit them more around the 150, 200 mark. This book you would eat up as a new reader for sure. Kept you on your toes from start to finish. Highly action-packed with a little twinge of romance in there. The change of events, the turn of events, the twist at the end that you kind of didn't see coming, but you saw coming, which I did. I kind of knew where it was going. It just kept you engaged. And again, this is one of those books where I could see this as a movie. Like I could see it played out. I loved how in one chapter they would be talking about something, and then they would switch to Esteban is in his cabin reading such and such. Like it made for a good movie. Like absolutely loved it. And I know some people say this is not his best work. To me, and I can't say that honestly because this is my first S.A. Cosby book. Hush now. Don't talk about me. It is. So I can't say that this is not his best work, but I will say I 5-starred it. I enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to read more S.A. Cosby books. So yeah, that was my reading month. We did 8 books. They were phenomenal. I can only say one of them that was just like, I shouldn't have wasted my time on it. But that's it. So yeah, I am going to go work on my November reading goals and see what we can get into this November. I hope to be back up in the double digits this month. We'll see, because it's not a busy month. But yeah, I just wanted to share my October reading recap with you. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know in the comments what you read this month. What was your favorite book this month? And yeah, send me some recs, y'all, because you know your girl loves a good recommendation. All right, I'm out. What was this book about? Gold.